Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family. We chose this one. This is episode 318 RRR from 2022. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too. Joey, have you ever been to a pharmacy?
Boy, have I.
Have you ever thought, man, these pharmaceutical prices in the U.S. healthcare market are way too expensive?
Every single time I go.
Would you like a free mobile app and website that helps Americans save millions of dollars every month by finding them the lowest prescription prices in their neighborhood?
That seems too good to be true.
Well, boy, do we have an app for you. If
Boy
you go,
or girl?
Girl. If you like, you can use GoodRx. They gather prices, coupons, and saving tips for prescriptions at virtually every U.S. pharmacy to help fight against high drug prices. Shout out to GoodRx.
Well, shout out to GoodRx. I also want to reestablish that now we are in Too Fast, Too Forever in the Chrissy Shackelford era, the girl, do we have a podcast for you era.
That's true. That's true.
Welcome to the show. This is a pit stop we were supposed to do 3 weeks ago, and I was just like, movie is too long for me this week because I am on a plane, and I have 700 pages of Infinite Jest to read, and I can't do it now. And I'm so glad that we swapped and we did Rad, because number one, Rad rules. Number two, I love this movie, and I was glad that I didn't have to, watch it in,
force watch it.
Yeah, or, all of these are kind of force watch, but, not be okay, I have 17 minutes before my next Zoom. Let me watch, 14 and a half minutes of this. It's just no. I watched 2 hours of it last night, and I finished the third hour this morning.
Yep.
And, yeah, I loved it.
I have a question for you off the rip.
Do I hate expensive pharmacies? Yes, I do. I already told you that.
No. Don't actually answer this, but is RRR a Fast and the Furious movie?
There's I was drawing comparisons. There is
It might literally be a Fast and the Furious
there's
movie.
one thing where I was like, wow. That is
I don't know what that is because there's so many.
Well, there's one in particular. We'll get to it. Get to it. So this movie came out last year.
It was nominated for best foreign film. Did it win?
No,
I think it did.
No, it was not nominated for best foreign film.
What was it nominated for?
Best original song for Not To, and it won.
Oh, okay.
Because it should have won because Not To rules. I was surprised too because I was like, was this nominated for best picture? And I was like, no, because Joe would have seen it, and I knew you hadn't seen it.
Yes.
I was like, was it nominated for best foreign film? Was it
because we
nominated
usually
for
don't
best
make it
director?
that far down the list. We usually don't make
like,
it down to
And I was like, I think there's probably a couple, and I was like, no, just best original song, which it won. But I was like, man, I thought because this was a phenomenon. This is a Netflix movie in the United States. It made 160 million worldwide. It was in theaters. A lot of the people I follow on Letterboxd, their reviews are like, this is the most fun I've ever had in the theater. This was a thing, even though people could see it at home. And I thought part of that, or that had translated to the Oscars, and it didn't really.
Weird. Yeah, I definitely assumed that it was nominated for best foreign film. I was also telling you before we got on here that I was actually kind of severely dreading this.
Yeah, what did you know about this before
Zero.
we started? So you knew it was Bollywood and it was 3 hours long.
I knew it was Bollywood and it was 3 hours long. And in my very, very limited experience with Bollywood movies, I understood that usually they have musical numbers. Usually there's a deep love story running throughout the movie. And with a title like RRR that gives me no clues, I was like, this is going to be a fucking slog for me.
So we have done, not for this podcast, and I thought we did because it, again, we were told years ago, they're like, do you want the Fast and Furious of Bollywood? We're like, boy, do we want, girl, do we want
Girl,
this.
do we want.
And we watched Doom, Dhoom, and I think we might have watched Doom 2, because I think they were like, Doom was good, but Doom 2 and Doom 3, those are the good ones. And I remember we watched at least one together at your house.
We did. I think we watched the first one together, yeah.
And we were like, yeah, it's good.
It's a Bollywood motorcycle movie that kind of maybe is Fast and the Furious, kind of.
And it's the kind of thing where we were like, a little disappointed.
I was disappointed. Yep.
I was not worried about this movie at all because a lot of people I know.
See, I didn't even see this. Like you said, like
Oh,
everybody on Letterboxd was
no,
like, "Oh, this is so
people-
much fun," and like
Like
these
even
things.
people in our circle, like Mark Hoffmeyer, Aaron Newworth, like people who have been on the show have talked like were shouting from the rafters last year how much they love this movie.
Okay.
I was not worried. What I was worried about was that basically there's been a year of hype. That like since last June, the people on like I want to call film Twitter because I basically don't use X, Film X.
Twitter.
Ugh, that's gross. But I was worried that like I had people who I respect and love and like in terms of like their movie taste and everything like saying how good this movie was for like a year, and I was like, I'm not gonna like it. It's too hyped up. It's too built up.
Come on, don't fall into your old ways.
No, I mean, I didn't want to like. No, I wasn't.
I
Like, I
know.
wasn't going to hate it because people loved it. I was like,
You were just
I'm
scared
worried
that
I'm not gonna
you've been
love it.
so hyped, and it can't possibly live up to the hype expectations that you now have.
and I don't think it's like perfect. Like, I didn't give it 5 stars, and I have all my normal behind the scenes stuff I will talk about. Like, I didn't give it 5 stars in Letterboxd because like I don't know enough. Like, I still think it's too long. Like, I think 3 hours is a lot, but I also think it's basically it's kind of 2 movies.
Kind of is, and honestly, I kind of respect the Bollywood commitment to pageantry of having a 3-hour movie. So in that sense, like, no, I don't want every movie to be a 3-hour movie, but going in knowing this is a Bollywood movie and
Right.
it being 3 hours, I enjoyed most of the 3 hours. It definitely could be shorter just for my attention span and just because movies shouldn't all be 3 hours long. But I didn't hate that it was 3 hours.
So there is in the middle of the movie when he's trying to free his sister, and they're like there's the big party at the mansion.
Yes.
And
The first party, because they
the
just
first-
party
the
all
first party.
fucking every fucking day. They're just like, is this, by the way, is this the Cancun of England? Because it seems
Well,
like they
they're
just
not in
go
England.
there. I know. I mean, for England, like the Cancun for because they
England's
just
Cancun.
travel there. They oppress the people. They're like, oh, the
Yeah,
Browns
maybe.
will do us. Like the Browns will do the housekeeping, and then they're just like, we just get to party all day in this mansion, and it
Maybe.
feels very like like a lot of exploitation, much like we do with some Mexican cities.
So maybe I have no idea. This is also like 100 years ago, so maybe
Of course,
hopefully-
yeah,
hopefully
yeah.
it's changed, but who knows? But there's the scene where there's the party and like they're like fighting and like right before Bean gets arrested, and there's that shot where they're like hanging by the rope or whatever, and like the hands, and it goes to like a cartoon in the middle. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where it's like very stylized, like the water arm and the firearm.
It's like the Adam and God.
Yes.
Yes.
So in theaters, there's an intermission there.
Oh, fun. Okay,
There's either
smart.
a 5 or 10-minute intermission. So I knew that was coming. So when I got there, like on Netflix, it just goes through. But I paused it there and I, took a little break last night and I watched like half of the second half last night. But that I was expecting on Netflix too to have an intermission there. But so it goes.
Yeah.
Anyway, RRR, a fictitious story about 2 legendary revolutionaries and their journey away from home before they started fighting for their country in the 1920s. So what I think is funny, I don't know how many High School Slumber Party episodes you or anybody who's listening has listened to, but one thing he always does, as you know, is he reads on the back of the DVD cover, he reads the summary, right?
Yes. Yeah. Brian definitely does this.
And so for the AP episodes with Iceland, because a lot of those aren't on DVD because they don't release every movie on DVD, things are newer, they're not on DVD yet, he'll just read the summary from the streaming service that they watch it on.
Okay.
So here's the RRR summary on Netflix, which I know you didn't see because I know you watch it elsewhere.
Yes.
So just imagine you're scrolling through Netflix, you're like, oh, what's this movie? And you tap on it, and this is what it gives you, okay?
Oh, I'm ready.
Remember, this is a global phenomenon. People are like, oh, I want to check out this movie. I don't know what it's about. Let me see what it's about. Here's the description. A Netflix top 10 hit in 62 countries, this epic Indian drama was viewed for over 47 million hours globally within the first month.
That's pretty masturbatory.
Don't you want to watch it? Doesn't that tell you so much about it?
No, that would have been like that's pretty much the information I came in with to watch this movie.
Like, normally Netflix would be like, the story of two men fighting for friendship, or like something like it's just like
Something,
I still
yeah,
don't know
something
what it
lame.
means, but
Yeah,
like,
something lame, but like vague, and yes.
but you get that. It's like Netflix is like, people fucking love this movie, and they love us. It's like,
Hey, look
okay.
at this good job we did.
Anyway, written and directed by S.S. Rajamouli, produced by DVV Danaya, shot by KK Senthil Kumar. I'm probably got all these names wrong. I've
Yeah,
never seen
same.
any movie that any of them have done. They're all Bollywood people. A lot of these people seem to have worked together on a lot of different productions. Budget of about $66 million, or like 2 billion something rupees.
Ruples, yeah, rupees. Sorry, yeah.
Box office of 166, so it made more than its money back easily, including 15 million here, where again it was on Netflix from the day it launched in the United States. Rotten Tomatoes 95, 94 by the audience, 83 on Metacritic, but that's all nonsense. Joe, let's get into those sweet, sweet, crazy credits.
Oh, tell me. I didn't watch a Crazy Credits, so I have no idea.
Well, no, you don't have to watch the end. There's no crazy credits about the end.
Oh, okay. They're
crazy
just
credit-
facts about the movie during it. No, okay,
They're not
perfect.
crazy credits. These are not crazy credits. These are descriptive credits. First crazy credit is genuinely, I tweeted this, my favorite thing any movie does. The title doesn't appear on screen until 40 minutes into the movie. 55 up, 1 down.
Oh yeah, you do love this, right?
When
this
a
is
movie
one.
delays a title card, Il Voce, the chef's kiss. You watched Drive My Car, right? Because that was
Yes.
Best Picture, and you
yes.
hated it because it was slow. But they drop
Slow as shit.
a title card like 55 minutes into that 3-hour movie, and I'm just like, ooh, baby, we're here. We're going. We're good.
Glad we got that prelude out of the way. Ooh.
Yeah, now the movie can start almost an hour in. What is it? The OA, the Netflix series, which is kind of like a longish movie as opposed to a TV series, but like they drop the series title card at the end of the first episode. I'm just like, man, this is so good. Sparrow's Dance does, like a bunch of movies do it, and I'm just like, it never doesn't thrill me. I'm always just like, this rules. Because like you don't think about it. You don't think like, oh, we didn't see the title card. Like we didn't see it. Because we know what movie you're watching, right? You're like, oh, this is RRR. And then they're like, hey girl.
Did you forget the name of it? Did you forget the name of this movie you've been
boyfriend
watching
material.
for an hour and a half?
Mhm.
You know what we should do, Joey? We should make a movie, and it should be a 4-hour movie, and we put the title card right before the credits.
I think some movies do that. I don't like it right before the end though. Like it needs to
What's
be in
the
middle.
limit? 15.
I don't know.
Okay,
I
it's
don't know.
15 minutes before the end, 30 minutes before the end. Like if we count it backwards, like what would hit the best?
I don't know. This being like this was about a quarter of the way in. It was pretty good. Drive my car about
Half
a quarter
is
of the way
good.
through. Half might be pushing it. I don't know. People don't really
Okay.
do half, but hey, give me a movie where it's the thing is like you can't tell me, like you can't recommend this to me because like the excitement is not knowing it's going to happen. Like you can't be like RRR has a thing 40 minutes in because then I'd be like waiting for it. You know what I mean?
No, but I'm saying like if you were trying to give yourself a surprise best viewing experience,
Yeah.
where would you optimally want the title card to come in to hit the hardest? Half?
I think a quarter or a
third?
third feels good. A half might be too far because you're like, all right. But also, I think it's not just the timing, it's like the placement. Because like, so this movie starts, and here's crazy credit number 2. Each R in the title is represented by the story, capital R, the fire, capital R, and the water, capital R chapters. Only
Yes.
after these chapters will the title of the movie RRR appear on screen.
What is it? Revenge, revolt,
Rise,
dance,
roar,
Rise.
revolt.
Oh, okay, yeah.
RRR. But yeah, like it sets it up because it's just like, okay, so white people are bad. This guy's maybe a superhero. This other guy's maybe a superhero. You got all that? Good. Title card. And it's like, yeah, cool, awesome. Like that's sweet. Anyway, that crazy credit, 18 up, 1 down.
Okay.
So here's a trivia. So the 2 main characters, not the actors, Alluri Sita Ramaraju and Komarim Beam, were freedom fighters of India who didn't meet in real life. This film is
cool.
fictitious and based on an idea of what if they met. So these people, like, it's not a real story by any means. Like, it's not even like Tarantino where it's like, here's how World War II could have played out. Like, this is like, Hitler or whatever.
No, it's just like there was 2 different guys that were revolutionaries, and they're like, what if they had teamed up for some reason or crossed paths at some reason? It's an interesting thought. I like it. It's a cool premise.
The director, Rajamouli, said the film was about, quote, an imaginary friendship between two superheroes. Like, if you don't know, like, I know that, like, you were saying, what'd you call it, the pageantry of Bollywood?
Yes.
If you don't know that going in, and like that, in the fire scene setting chapter, whatever, early,
Yes.
and then like arrest that guy, and then you see this guy like get swallowed up by like 50 dudes, and then like break his way out. I'm like, didn't think that was gonna happen, but like, yeah, it's superheroes.
Yeah, you mean when he fights the zombie apocalypse of Indian dudes raging outside the police headquarters? That was when I was watching this, and I was like, is this man Lucas Rebecca Hobbs of India? I really thought for a second there, I was like, he might be the Indian Hobbs. Because he even, like, and then, like, I think right after it, he, like, punches through a punching bag, which is very cast break-off type situation. Like, it shoots it like that, too.
Yeah.
Like, I know they're completely different things, but I was like, I was already in Hobbs mode, so I was sold.
Well, so I think, okay, so if you think he's Hobbs, who do you think Beam is?
Dom.
Yeah.
He's rescuing his family. He's the
I
leader of
think-
the family, rescuing a lost child that he needs to bring back. And falls in love with a white lady, which is like just the reverse of him falling in love with Elena. Although we know Vin Diesel's racially indistinguishable, sure, but
I also thought that we'll get to it, but I also thought he wasn't Hobbs, he's
Brian. Yes. So when you first see him and he breaks everybody with the stick, I'm like, oh, it's Hobbs. And then when you hear the twist, you're like, oh. This actually
the
might
movie
be
has
Brian.
like 6 narrative twists that like all make sense. It's just like,
Yeah,
you thought this guy was good, he's still good. The other guy, you thought he was bad, he's actually good. Wait, no, actually he's bad. No, actually, really,
he's really good. He's good. Yeah.
Also, this kid who was clearly a good kid, he grows up to be the bad guy. It's like, wait a minute, what? Anyway.
Yes.
Background of people who loved it: Edgar Wright, Baby Driver, Scott Pilgrim. The Cornetto trilogy, loved it. He said it's the only film he ever saw where the intermission card got applause, which is cool.
Interesting. Okay.
James Cameron loved it. Titanic, Avatar, Terminator, the rest. Saying he'd help Rajamouli make films in the US and Canada if he wanted to make them here too. Hideo Kojima, who is the Sony sort of played like the video game auteur, he made like the Metal Gear Solid games. He made Death Stranding. He body scanned Rajamouli, who I think is
Beam.
Yes. He scanned him to be in his next video game. Because, like, Death Stranding, I don't know if you saw, but it's just like, oh God, what's his name from The Walking Dead? Norman Reedus, also from Boondock Saints. He's just like a lot of games do this, but like, he's just like, we're just going to put actors in these games. Like, they're the actors, like, as a part. And it's like, okay. So he's scanned for the next movie. Or next game, I guess, whenever that's going to be. And then to explain, you were saying before you didn't know what the movie was based on the title. RRR was just a working title, and then they just like never changed it. So it just became like, as they were filming this over the course of almost a year, like people I think were like, oh, this is going to be good. And like people kept talking about this movie RRR, and they just like never changed it. So like in different countries,
Kind of smart move, yeah.
It like stands for different things, which you didn't write down because like it's not like in English, but it's, you know, the RRR is like it, you know, rise, roar, revolt. Like it could be whatever in whatever language it, you know, becomes.
It uses R's, yeah.
The first Indian film to be nominated for Best Original Song Academy Award for Natu Natu, which we'll talk about. And composer M.M. Keeravani loved the Jaws score, a movie we just talked about, which has no orchestration, and thanked John Williams for the lesson of simplicity and humbleness in composing scores for movies. So I guess he's like, you don't have to be bombastic all the time. You can just sort of like let things linger and simmer and whatever.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And the only other trivia that I have is Daisy Edgar Jones, who I don't know if you would know her from anything. She was in Where the Crawdads Sing. She was also in Normal People, that Hulu series. No. She was supposed to be, I would imagine, the one good white person in this movie, like the girl that Beam falls in love with. But she had family issues, and so she had to drop out. But like, it's weird that I was just like, oh, like I don't think I'm going to know anybody from this movie. And I'm like, Daisy Edgar Jones is supposed to be in it. I'm like, oh, I guess she was going to be like the white lady that Beam falls in love with, but. Because I can't imagine she was going to be, because she's, you know, about that white lady's age, and so.
Yeah.
I don't know. Tell me about RR. What you love, what you hate, what you not like, favorite parts, favorite moments, favorite characters.
I really did like this movie. It was surprisingly good for me. It felt like generally overall, it was a little Fast and the Furious, a little Indiana Jones, a little Bollywood. There was a whole bunch of things that I liked, and watching it through the lens of it being a Fast and the Furious movie when I realized that from the beginning made it a really interesting, fun time watch.
Did Rachel watch this with you too?
No, she did not.
Did she have no interest, or just like the timing didn't work out?
Timing didn't work out, but I gave her a rundown of like, hey, the guy's looking for his daughter, but he has to fight the Indian Hobbs. And then turns out he's not bad, he's good. And then I did like that, and I gave her like a 1-paragraph summary of the movie. I think she would like this, though.
I think I genuinely do think that like everyone would like this movie.
I agree. Yep.
Unless you're a British imperialist, in which case you might not.
Yes. In that case, probably not.
Because the movie is propaganda, and like I think if you read, like I didn't read about this, but I was reading reviews of people who had like read about it, and like there's some stuff which is like, ooh, like even some kind of like right wing extremist, like Indian sort of like the like things over there, just like, ooh, maybe not great. But I think like outside of that, like it's just a blast. It's way bloodier and more violent than I thought it was going to be.
It's so bloody. It's very, very bloody. I like the random use of CGI animals a lot, too, for no fucking reason. Like, I mean, like, they're not very necessary.
The very first title card, I think, like in English, is just like, no birds were harmed, every other animal is CGI.
Yeah, it's like, and it lists them. It's like all the tigers, all the fucking everything listed here is not real, just to let you know.
And that's before you've seen anything. Like, it's like 4 or 5 minutes of like opening credits of just like setting things up, thanking people, like doing kind of top credits, whatever. And then it's just like, hey, you're about to see some crazy shit. Don't worry, we didn't hurt those animals. It's like, okay,
pretty cool. Yeah, thanks.
Sure. But there's so many people who die, who get shot and killed, who get their necks snapped, who get
it's like bullet shot through the head, splatter, slow-mo, next guy, bullet shot through the head, splatter.
It's like, it's not like John Wick, because John Wick is like, we're going to do this in a realistic way. Like, if this guy were to kill like 60 people in a room with a gun, like what would it look like? That's kind of what it is. This is more like John Wick if it was shot like a Mortal Kombat game, where it's like the X-ray.
There's a lot of Mortal Kombat.
I
thought that too. The hands coming together felt very Mortal Kombat. So I'm glad you brought up Mortal Kombat. Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, like dudes getting their necks snapped, getting like trampled, like everything, like getting stabbed again. You think about like at least the two guys are superheroes. The whip stuff, where it's like the one guy gets like stabbed through like the kidney, basically with a tree.
The tree? Yeah.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
That's what, it's Fast and Furious, man. They're fucking invincible. Doesn't matter. Keep it pushing. We don't care.
Although he did when like, I mean, there's so much cool stuff in this movie, but like the reason he gets stabbed by the tree is because the white British commander or whatever.
That was such a cool shot. That the way that he's leading them away. Mm-hmm. He drops a tree.
He's leading them into a trap. Yes.
He drops a tree on the car. Mm-hmm. It shoots him like up in the air. He grabs a gun. Yeah, grabs the gun midair and is just like hovering in the air and like shoots his car. And then he does like a great like shoots the tire. The car just fucking explodes.
The car spins like sideways. They both get ejected out and he tumbles into a tree that stabs him.
Yeah. It's pretty sick.
But by that point you're just like, yeah, that tracks.
He's fine. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that like condescending, just like, yeah, that rules. Like there's so much in here where it's just like, again, superhero. Like I think having the framing of like these are two people who like it's a fairy tale, it's a fable, right? Like they're not real. I mean, they were real, but this is not the real story. It's heightened, but like these dudes, like one of the very first things we see the first time they meet is them saving the boy on that little boat thing, and we'll talk about the vehicles later.
Okay, but the rope swing is so fucking... Yeah, first of all, they just look at each other and they're like, we know how to do this. All 70,000 steps of this plan.
Two people who have never met and have clearly never done
talked.
This before.
Oh, they did like what? They did like one like hand cross X from the bridge down, and he's like, got it. Like we're gonna run the play that we've been planning all camp. We got that play down. We're running that play.
They're basically communicating like in emojis or like just, we're right, like football signals. And it's like, okay, cool. So what you're going to do is you're going to get on that horse and I'm going to get on this motorcycle. We're both going to grab this rope and then we're going to jump and I'm going to grab a flag that I'm going to coat in water so that you can then swing through the fire and not get burned.
Yes.
Meanwhile, I'm going to give you the flag and I'm going to scoop up the kid. It's just like, wait, what?
And then you throw the kid back to me, and then when you come back from the fire, you jump, I jump, and then we're good.
And it's just like, cool, break. And then they huddle up and they nail it first try.
I love that. I do really, really enjoy, we talk about this, like, sometimes, like, you and I talk about movies, and we're like, everything goes too smooth. There's, like, no real conflict. This is the complete opposite. In the sense that, like, I fucking love it. I just want it to work every time. It just works every time, and I'm sold every time. I'm like, oh, yep, that sick. Good job, guys. Because there is, like, the internal conflict between them. They don't need to have conflict of, like, the plan not working, right?
No, they're, like, they basically need to face, like, insurmountable odds where you're like, there's no way they're going to do this. And then, like, you see them do it and just like, okay.
It's like, and they do it the coolest, weirdest way possible, too. Like, and it looks great. Like, and who were we just talking about? Where it's like, if you have to debate between like realism and cool, always choose cool. This chooses cool so hard. It's like, yeah, they could have like, like got another boat paddled out there and saved the little boy, or he could have jumped off the thing. But it's like, but what if we get a horse and a motorcycle and jump off either side and start this like fucking rope seesaw shits and do it that way? And it's like way cooler. Definitely good choice. Way better.
Yeah, for sure. Man, it's great. It's great. I don't even like have like I have like a thing. I'm just like I just started thinking about like different scenes in the movie. I'm like I got nothing to say. Like it's all just so cool. I will say that early on we see a cop beating up a mechanic, and I'm just like Dom would never abide this. Like there's just like the movie like doesn't start in, but like
Beam
the water
is
section.
A mechanic too, which is so Dom, right?
Yeah.
Like I mean, he's not actually a mechanic. He's a superhero that has to leave his town to go rescue the little girl, but he's hiding undercover in a fucking a body shop, essentially, right?
And so the delayed title card comes 40 minutes in, and I message Mark on Twitter, and I'm just because Mark and I have talked about this before. Like he loves it too, and I'm just like, this is the best thing. And like when he responds, I'm like, look, the only other thing I know about this movie is Nacho Nacho, and I know how the song goes. I haven't seen the scene because I was like, I want to save it for when I watch the movie, but like I know it's like a big
the
Bollywood
audio
dance
of the song.
number, and I know the audio, and I was like,
which one is that song, by the way?
It's the one at the, not wedding, but kind of wedding.
Oh, the party.
Yeah.
The one at the party where they do like, where they're skanking, essentially. Yeah. It's just all leg stuff.
Okay. And then
he,
Raju throws it so that Beam can win to impress the girl. But yeah, that scene where they're doing that, and I was just like, I don't know how this is going to come up, because it doesn't make any sense in the narrative. I'm like, all I know is Nacho Nacho. He just like, and so as I'm saying this, I'm like, oh, here it is. And like it kind of comes out of nowhere, but I'm just like, okay, here we go. And like it's so cool. That actually, so the other trivia that I have about this was that it was shot in Ukraine, in Kiev, a few months before the invasion. So like all of that where they shot that is basically gone? Destroyed. Yeah, like that's but like a few months before. Natu means country in the rustic or rural sense, although they also like. It also feels like means dance.
Nacho means dance.
Nacho.
They keep saying nacho, 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 nacho.
Well, so the other thing, did you watch it? How did you watch? Like, what language did you listen to it in?
I'm entirely unsure because it felt like a fucking spaghetti western. It was like English.
That like, also felt dubbed.
That is dubbed sometimes, is sometimes English, and if they respond in a different language, they can also respond in English, and everybody seems to understand, unless there's a translator, in which case he just translates it.
Or unless you're the white girl, in which case you don't speak a single language other than English.
Exactly.
And
except ma'am. Don't call me ma'am.
Don't call me madam, just call me Jenny, right?
Yes.
Don't call me madam, it's just Jenny, yes. And he's like, that's a wild name. Don't call me madam, it's just Jenny, yes. Weird, but okay. Okay, don't call me madam, it's just Jenny, yes.
this is really funny to me too, because in 90 Day Fiance there's like this notorious couple that's been on 90 Day for like a bunch of seasons, and it's a small Indian man who catfished this woman and said his name was Michael Jordan. And he essentially used like a picture of like Rom as his like she called like a tech service hotline, got this guy, and he's like, I'm falling in love with this woman based on her voice, and he says like, you should friend me, my name's Michael Jordan. It's like the hottest, rippedest Indian Bollywood actor dude ever, and it's not. It's like a very small Indian guy, and her name is Jenny. And so he says Jenny just like he does, and every time he would say it, I would be like, oh, this is so funny, because it's like them. She actually eventually moved to India, and he was already married, and there's 3, 4, 5 seasons of 90 Day that involves them. But yeah, sure.
To answer your earlier question, you said you don't know what language it's in. So it was originally shot in
the Wes was telling us about this,
Telugu, which is the language of the southern Indian state of Andhra Pradesh. And so it was shot in this language, Telugu. It's second only to Hindi in India as the number of native speakers. So Telugu, for whatever reason, is not available as a language option on Netflix, and that pissed people off. Lisa didn't watch it because
I've heard, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they dubbed it in. I mean, you can watch there's 10 languages. I think you can watch it all in English, although the songs aren't dubbed, so just the dialogue is dubbed. But I watched it in Hindi because, number one, it had Dolby Atmos, it was the best audio setup Netflix had. But also number two, it feels like that was the one that Netflix is watch this one. But number two, at least the two main actors, I don't know if anybody else, but at least the two main actors dubbed themselves in Hindi. So it's not
okay. Interesting.
So
it's
their
cool.
Voices. It's just not.
Okay.
It's not what they're saying as they're being filmed, but at least it sounds like what it should say.
What
you know
they
what I mean?
would say. Yeah.
But it's weird to me. I know that people there's backlash, but I know a lot of people speak Hindi. But most people who watch this movie don't speak Hindi. Just put Telugu as an option. Yeah. Or just have it as an option. What are you doing?
See, I feel the same way in reverse. That I'm not gonna fucking understand them if they're speaking Hindi or the other language. So what the fuck does it matter to me? They could have dubbed it in Italian, and I would, as long as they nail the as long as it doesn't sound wildly off and cartoony.
I just think it feels off. You're oh, they did something here, and it's not bad, but it's just you can tell the mouths don't match. It's just, I don't know. I see both sides of just just put it as an option, or
it's dumb that they didn't include shouldn't this be base level 1? You know what I mean? I'm with you on that, right? This should be okay, this is just standard, and then we have other options available. Why did you make option 2 option A and not include option A?
Because it's not they shot it twice. They shot it once, and then they probably, I would guess, I don't know, that most major Indian releases get dubbed in both languages, right? So
probably,
but it's not they shot it in Telugu and shot it in Hindi and then just released the one. It's no, they shot it in just the one and then dubbed in the other, and Netflix is cool, we're only going to use that one, and also English, and also German or whatever. It's why? What? I don't know.
Yeah,
but then I was
make any sense.
I was maybe I'll buy it on Blu-ray because I'm sure whatever. And there's been no physical release for this, so at least in the U.S. So whatever.
Fun.
The fuck. Cool, right?
Yeah. Can't wait till Netflix pulls it to save money.
I do love in that setting up the end of the first half of the movie before the intermission, that the way that they're going to, so the whole thing is at the beginning of the movie, these white people abduct a young Indian girl.
First thing, they're hey, we're just gonna take this Indian girl. So they toss her mom 2 quarters, and they're
and then they smash the mom in the head with a big old wood plank.
Well, the guy is a big idiot, and he's that's them thanking you for her singing. And then they just take her away, and they're shit, maybe they bought her. And then she's oh, fuck. So she tries to go get her daughter back, and they're nope, head bonk, boom, there you go.
So this young girl spends the entire movie basically in this palace, but she's I want to go back to my family, the people, right? And just so the whole movie is Beam trying, and it's the main guy's sister. He's trying to get her back. He's trying to figure out where she is and how to get her back. And so his big plan, like the first big push he has, is I'm gonna get on this truck with like 15 insane animals, and we're gonna siege. And I'm just like, I've never seen this before in a movie. Maybe it'll work. I mean, it probably won't because there's still another hour.
It was like
and 40
Avengers
minutes.
Endgame, but just with animals.
Yeah, except they all like. What's funny is that like they jump off this very cinematic way because they're all CGI and they can do whatever they want, and then they like jump out of the truck and all the animals just like stand there. He's like swinging around like the fire, just like go, like do the plan.
That they have some great animal kills in this movie too. The guy that he impales on the antler of the like elk or whatever, sick as fuck.
And as this is going on, I'm like, this is really like a Dom Bryan, because this is when you find out, I think, that...
Because they're besties at the end of the first act.
Yeah.
They're besties, and they even sing a song like, these guys aren't going to be friends forever. They hate each other. Because he's looking for the daughter, and the other guy, Hobbs Bryan,
Raju.
Ram, is looking for him because they had a deal that he, like, the evil white lady is like, right? The evil white lady, I think, is the one who starts it.
I think so.
She's like, if you find this motherfucker that's trying to take my stolen, kidnapped daughter back, then I will make you super soldier.
I'm going to Bucky Barnes the shit out of you.
I'm gonna make you super soldier. But if you kill him, you just get a reward. But if you bring him back alive,
yep,
you get a red suit.
Yeah. He's like, cool. So like they're both...
He's like, I want the fucking red suit.
Raju doesn't realize he's looking for Beam when they're best friends. Beam doesn't realize that Raju is basically working for the enemy.
Yes.
Or he is the enemy when they become best friends.
Yes.
He also... Then we're like, oh, this guy... So we think he's like a bad guy pretending to be a good guy. Or like a cop pretending to be a criminal, which is very Brian. But then you're like, wait, no... He's actually a mole.
He's double crossing the English cops.
And I was like, do we have a metaphor for... I mean, the closest thing is like, and it doesn't really work, is like Dom working for Cypher, but actually working still for the family.
This is why I blended Hobbs and Bryan, because it's Hobbs is a cop that eventually joins the family. Bryan joins the family, who turns out to be a cop that eventually becomes a criminal. If you combine both of those stories in the long run, I think you get the whole transformation of Raw.
But like in our metaphor, obviously the cops are the bad guys, and so
yes,
the story of Raju is that he was a little kid in just like a town,
a village, yeah,
that white people came and killed his mother and his sister, and just like because they were trying to come for his dad.
brother, I think his brother or his cousin, probably. Like there was like a little boy that got shot too, yeah.
And so he sees all these people, and so his dad, I think, is like, we need you, or maybe his uncle is just like, we need you to make sure that you give everyone a gun.
It was his dad. Yeah, it was his dad who was he was also in the English cop. He was an English cop as well, or like, whatever. He was an English cop, and he left because he realized that they, like, even if he tried to be a brown person as an English cop, that they were still just going to kill brown people because that's what they were fucking doing. And, like, he either has to kill brown people, too, or, like, stop.
And so this is what kicks off the second half of the movie, where we're just like, what are we seeing here? Is they're like, oh, no, actually, Raju
we're unpacking it. We're unpacking it. And then all of a sudden you start to realize that, like, the little kid is him. And then it's like, spoiler alert, like you said, the guns. His dad was like, you need to make... Because his dad was training everybody in the village to, like, to start an army.
Because he's going on like a lifelong undercover mission until he can get the privilege of like basically transporting all the guns. And he's like, I'm gonna just instead of giving it to white people,
hijack it. Yeah, I'm just gonna hijack it and I'm gonna drop them off in my town, and we're gonna be like, bitches, we're starting an army, let's go.
But this is like a years long con just to get a bunch of guns.
Like
and I know
30 years long con.
It's insane. And like all along the way, he has to like kill and beat and betray his own people, all with the hopes that one day he will be entrusted to do this one thing that like he's been waiting for.
Yes. To give them the guns to then he can just fuck the day up. And you're like, oh, that's kind of cool, actually. I mean, like, it's shitty that you have to, like, you know, beat up your best friend and like put him in jail, but yeah.
Meanwhile, he's got a beautiful fiance or girlfriend who like loves him and he's in love
She's
with him.
gorgeous
She's just
too,
like,
by the way. This
she's
chick
just
is
like,
fucking gorgeous. Like,
she's just
like she's beautiful.
do your thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, I gotta go. She's like, okay, cool. And then like she eventually saves it. But it's wild how like back and forth at all this. Like it never doesn't make sense. You're like, wait, I can't tell like who are we rooting for here? Because like you're like,
Both
are we rooting for? Because you're always rooting for Bean.
You
Like, Bean's
change.
always good. But like you're
Bean's
like,
always
is
good, yeah.
Raju good or is he not?
And then you're like, is he gonna have the revelation? Because he might just go full villain at any point.
Mm-hmm.
You know what else I kind of like in this movie that they were doing a lot of is like sometimes like they just like skip forward in the plot, at least in my brain. That they're like, yeah,
They're
this
like,
happened.
It's been months since we captured him. Just like, no, that was the last scene.
That was the last scene. And sometimes they're just like, oh, like how are they gonna get the key? Here's the key. There you go. Cool.
Yep.
He has the key now.
Yep.
Keep it fucking pushing. We're gonna get back to fight scenes. Like whatever they need to put. Like they do stuff to move the story along. It doesn't really make sense how they do it, but they're just like, problem was solved. Problem solved. There we go. Back to fight scenes. Animals eating people.
Yeah, because speaking of fight scenes, before that intermission, when all the animals go out, they accidentally light off a bunch of fireworks, and so while they're fighting, there's just fireworks going off. I'm just like, man, this
Looks sick
is
as
so
fuck.
good. It's so
yeah,
good.
it's really awesome. Yeah.
And it feels like in a different version, this is like the climactic scene where he rescues his sister and saves the day. And it's like, because we're like 95 minutes into the movie, and it's just like, cool, this is the end of the movie. That he's gonna win. He's gonna kill the bad people. He's gonna take the sister and go back to the village, and like we're wrapped up in 10 minutes. And it's like, no, he gets captured. We got another half of the movie. It's like, hold on, what?
Yep.
I remember, I think we might have talked about it on the Death Proof episode, but when I saw Grindhouse in theaters, did you see Grindhouse in theaters? Have you ever seen Grindhouse all the way through?
Probably no.
Have you ever seen Planet Terror or no?
I think I have when it came out, but I don't remember it.
Grindhouse in theaters opened with like regular trailers for other movies or whatever, but when the movie started, it started with the trailer for Machete.
Yeah,
and
you
then
told
it
me. I
played
remember this.
Planet
Yeah.
Terror, and then it played 3 trailers, and then it played Death Proof.
Yes.
And so after Planet Terror ends, the credits start rolling. This guy in the row ahead of me gets up and just like, well, time to go. And his friends are like, dude, there's another movie.
Sit down. Yeah, there's a whole other movie.
And it feels like, in a certain way, just like, okay, 90 minutes, cool. Like that feels like the end of the movie. And it's like,
Guess
no,
he
there's
didn't
still
win.
another 90 minutes of the movie. And it's like,
I'll come back for part 2 in 2024.
And so you start off with this long flashback. You're like, wait, who are we following here? Because like it could kind of be either, right? You're just like, this is like a
yes.
You're not even like, you're not explicitly sure it's a flashback, though. I think you pretty much know it is. You're like, this kid is like the greatest marksman in the history of shooters.
Yes.
And you're like, who is it? You're like, oh, it's Raju. Like that's not good because he's a bad guy.
Hobbs. It's Hobbs. Yeah, Hobbs is the greatest shooter of all time.
Well, wait a minute. He's actually a good guy.
Yep.
We cut back, and like the first thing we see that good guy do is beat the shit out of his friend in public.
Yeah, then we have like a long whip torture scene that sure. But you know what? In this too, you know that like I'm not a big fan of like gore. Like I don't want to see a lot of bloody stuff. And this is like a torturous scene for like a long time. But you know what? He's like singing through it. He's like he's looking smiley, and he's like, I will not surrender. I will not bend the knee for these motherfuckers. And in that sense, it's like it turns out to be pretty positive. And like also like as much as they show like his shirt being ripped in like some scenes and he like winces and stuff like that, like it's not like the Passion of the Christ, right?
Right.
Like it's not like just like the most brutal flogging of all time. It's just like, yeah, like he's getting flogged, but like he's just fighting the man. So deal.
Well, I think what really works here, there's a lot going on where he's trying to like Beam is just trying to like withstand and like show that he's strong for the people because they're like everybody has to come and watch this. Like you have to come watch us beat the shit out of your hero.
Public flogging, yeah.
And Raju's like, I can't not beat him because my boss is there. But I don't want to beat him because he's my friend, and like I kind of.
And he's like, I've been working this long con for 30 years. I can't blow my cover right here. I'm so close to the end.
And so, but Beam doesn't know that, and so he's trying to like. So Raju's trying to help him and like make him bend the knee, basically. But like Beam is just like, nope, I'm gonna reverse limbo and just not. And then the white lady's just like, he didn't kneel. Use this brutal whip instead.
this whip that has nails coming out of it and drag it across his flesh to just rip it open. You're like, oh,
so,
yeah.
Wes had that automancer thing where, like, the family touches cars, they superpower. Like, it feels like in these movies when they start singing, they become superpowered.
I think so, too. And I had a thought. Audiomancer. Ooh, I like that. I had a thought. As I'm watching this, again, you knew the specific mindset that I'm in. I was like, imagine Vin breaking into musical number to encourage the family. You know what I mean? Like, imagine if we had like a nice Vin Bollywood style breakdown that he sings a song to like enchant the family with extra superpower to rise up.
I did not expect you to say this, but when I was reading reviews on Letterboxd,
Okay.
I copied a paragraph from one of Demi Adijuibe's reviews of this movie. We've talked about him a lot before. He does the September videos, or did the September videos. He did the night before Fast and Furious.
Yes.
So I think it's the last paragraph of his first review. In parentheses. Had a sudden epiphany while watching that this had the energy and vibrancy I had missed from West Side Story. Please put all our action stars in musicals already. So you're saying, like, what if Vin does this, right?
Yes.
Stop pretending, Demi writes, that well-choreographed fighting isn't just incredibly masculine dancing.
Yes.
I'm infinitely less impressed by a punch than I am by a backflip. Channing Tatum, I was just like, here we go, learned this early on and no one has wised up. And then he says, I know Vin Diesel is watching this movie and taking all the wrong notes. Which is just so funny because Vin's just like, what if, like, we just do punches like this movie? And it's like, no, like, what if you, like, lean into just being, like, a little
sillier, a little dancier,
theatrical, campy, over the top
pageantry. Add some pageantry.
And it's just like, no, but, like, what if we punch real good?
Yeah.
But it's funny that we're like, because, I know that you don't love musicals, but it would be funny to see Vin, like, break into a musical. And, like, there is something
he's musical. He is musical. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like, we've heard him sing. We've seen him dance. There's no way he couldn't do this. And you're right. Like, Demi's dead on. What's the difference between him doing breakdancing videos and him doing fight scenes in Fast and the Furious? Not that much, to be honest. It's just choreography, right?
Mm-hmm. But I was just like, because I saw the Vin, I'm just like, here's the thing for us. But I'm also just like, there is something exciting about, like, Channing, like, I don't think you watch a Channing movie unless you're, like, the most closed-minded big and be like, that dude's gay. It's just like, no, this guy is just, like, doing things in a different way. Like, he's dancing and, like, he's...
And it's so funny because he did the dance movies.
Mm-hmm.
He did all the movies where he does dancing, and now he does action movies where he does fighting, and it looks fun because he's such a good dancer.
It's all just movement. Choreography.
Just
flow. So the most Fast and Furious thing. So, like, this is the point in my notes where, like,
I want to hear your most.
I'm
Fast
taking
and Furious
notes every
thing.
like 20 minutes. And I'm just like, oh shit, I should be writing down when I'm just like watching the movie.
Same. Mine take a deep dive like after the first half of the movie.
Yeah, my first half I have like a bunch of notes.
A lot of
and
notes.
The second half,
in the second half, I'm like, I'm locked in. Yep.
And one of them is just Ghost Rider ass motorcycle. When the motorcycle gets caught on fire, I'm just like, fucking Ghost Rider flying through the sky. Anyway, Raju gets the gun consignment. He's finally like, this is what I've been waiting for all these years. I now have control of all the guns. Time to act. Coincidentally, my best friend Beam gonna get hanged out there. I'm gonna control things so that, like, we can two birds, one stone, right? We can free him. I have all the guns. Take care of business.
Yeah.
Beam does not know that Raju is good. And so Beam is like, he breaks free. They're both fighting their way out. And, like, the sister is running around, and, like, Beam sees Raju pointing a gun, what he thinks is at his sister, but really he's pointing at a guy who's behind Beam, who's going to shoot and kill Beam.
Yeah, so he can shoot through them, kill this guy, and save both of them.
And so Beam...
Oh, this is the most Fast and the Furious moment. You're getting there. Go ahead. Yep, I have this too. Yep.
Angrily jumps at him. Raju fires, kills the guy.
Thinks he misses, but he's just like the greatest marksman of all time.
Again, as established. Perfect setup and execution. Beam bashes him in the head with the wood. His sister runs away. And then he's like, he's about to kill him.
On top of him because he has this
mm-hmm.
he has this like chunk of wood, like not a stick, but like a fucking log.
Yeah. He's going to kill him, and then he stops, and he thinks about it. And then we cut away, and we hear a goosh, and it's just like, oh no, Raju's dead. And then we see him running off, and we see the wood right next to him. I'm like, that's Dom Toretto with a wrench.
The wrench. Mm-hmm. That's Dom Toretto with a wrench. This character is just dumb. 100%. Like, we could argue about the Hobbs versus Brian thing with the double twist. Sure. But,
Beam is Dom.
Beam is Dom.
I was like, there's a lot of Fast and Furious, but I think it's just like a lot of like action, not in a bad way, but like cliches, tropes, character tropes, whatever. Just like,
sure, yeah,
good guy pretending he's a bad guy, pretending he's a good guy, whatever. Like, you know, brother, like homoerotic, whatever. Like all the stuff we've talked about a lot. That's all stuff that's in a bunch of movies.
Yes,
this is straight up Dominic Toretto.
It's 100%. Yeah, the miss the head, go through the ground, because it's like hard packed ground. He stabs the log into like it's like sticking straight up. Yes,
still getting the anger and the aggression out and like slamming it down, like doing what you would have done, just not killing a guy.
Incredible.
Couldn't be more dumb.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about the vehicles in this movie?
Yeah, well, because I don't really have more notes about the movie. Like, they
save the day.
Win.
They win.
Yeah.
They win. I mean, that's it. Yeah, go watch it. It's fun. Like we said, Indiana Jones, Fast and Furious mixed together. Bollywood. It's fun. Okay. So we have a bunch.
I got a lot of vehicles here.
Do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
You go first, because your Fast and Furious 6 one was so complete that I have things in here that I wrote down and like, this isn't a vehicle, but they use it like a vehicle, so I have that down too.
Okay. Motorcycles.
All over the movie.
All over. Cattle carts, or like drawn buggies.
Mm-hmm.
Rickshaws, some kind of like rickshaw type situation.
Is it like a wheelbarrow? Is that what that is?
Kind of.
Yeah, okay.
They use those too. We get horses again.
Mm-hmm.
Train, and the train explodes very Fast and the Furious, by the way.
Like the oil tanker car on the train.
Yes. That, like, the whole train bridge, jump off the bridge, whole thing, Fast and Furious. Okay, go, and I'm going to hit you with my last one after you finish.
We got police motorcycle, the oil tanker you mentioned, the horse you mentioned, motorcycle you mentioned there. Yes. But there was the little boat thing that the kid is in.
Little boat. Yes, yeah.
But like a little
the
boat
roundy
thing.
one. The round boat. Yeah, because that's like a boat that exists in some places. Yes. I think like the Vietnamese had these boats. I've seen like them in like what Grand Tour, they were in some Asian country. I might be making it wrong and saying Vietnam, but it's not. But they had them, and yes, it's like a round boat that you kind of swirly. Yeah.
It's not a vehicle, though it is maybe a method of transportation, which is like what we're getting at anyway.
If you steal mine, I'm going to be so pissed. Go ahead.
In that same thing, they have a rope swing.
Rope swing, yes. Yeah.
There's also the motorcycle again in the next part where they pass a street tram, which is kind of like, you know, like a
trolley.
Above ground. Yeah, like a trolley.
Okay.
Later they have, I wrote down a wheelbarrow car, but you called it a rickshaw. There's the animal truck, like all the cages on there, which is a different kind of thing.
Yeah.
The only other one that I have is in the middle of the, like, there's like a final song and dance number that they like stop halfway through. They're like, oh, wait, sorry, we have more movie. Hold on. And they're just like on a boat. It's like, oh, okay, here's a boat too. Sure. And then they go back to the dance number. But that's all the ones I had. Like, what's the one that you didn't want me to steal?
Okay, we're getting to the end of the movie. Beam rescues Rom from jail. Okay. And they're getting away. And Rom is riding on the back of Beam.
Oh, yeah.
I think piggyback rides might be a vehicle in this movie.
It's definitely a method of transportation.
It's self-propelled. It's not, he's not propelling it. I think by definition that's a vehicle.
There is so much in this movie that we did not get to. Like when we meet Beam, he's running from a wolf in the woods
that becomes a tiger.
To counter the wolf, he's just like, "Oh, here's tiger tracks. There's probably a tiger up there. I'm gonna have them fight each other."
No, I don't think so. I think he was trying to trap the wolf, and a tiger just popped out and was like, "Oh shit."
That also works.
Yes.
Either way, it's still insane. And that's not even the most insane thing where like the tiger then chases him.
And he has to hold the tiger back.
The tiger. And they have to hold the tiger back.
He has to hold both ends of the rope, so he and the tiger are doing this like rope dance And yeah.
There's, a lot where Beam is carrying Raju because, so Raju gets arrested for helping Beam, and they're like, this dude, 2 days from death, we haven't fed him, we haven't given him water, he's going to be so poor off, he's going to be a mess.
We've been treating him worse than this guy that's begging for food.
Dude is just ripped in his jail cell doing pull-ups. It's just like
Very The Rock. That's Very The Rock.
Very The Rock. Then they send him into the little cell. And so, he's been just, beat to shit. They beat up his legs with, the canes or whatever, and they just throw him in the solitary, which looks miserable. And then that's when Beam carries him around. There's so many things that are just, never seen that before. Never seen that before.
Yep.
Never seen that before.
Yeah.
It just rules.
It does. It was actually a lot of fun. I really, really like this movie.
I think there was talk maybe of, a sequel. I don't remember if there is going to be one. But I think it was the kind of thing where people are like, this movie is so big, can't there be more?
Okay.
Before the film's released, Rajamouli said he has no intentions of making a sequel to turn it into a franchise. However, the writer said they're, one of the other writers, because the director also wrote it, quote, they started exploring the idea to a sequel and hope to make it happen sometime later. Speaking with Variety, Rama Rao. Who is Rama Rao? Oh, Jesus. Rama Rao is NTR, that's Beam. His name is listed in different ways in different places. Beam basically said he hoped it would continue as a franchise. And then the director said his father and screenwriter said they're working on the sequel. So, there might be something, but, this feels, too big and too much of, a phenomenon.
Why don't they just
end at one?
They need to do, just an American Horror Story thing where they just, write another story, cast the same cast, and just do a different story where the brown people win against the white people again. I'll watch it. You know what I mean? It doesn't need to follow this exact thing. It could be, future space brown people fighting the white. It doesn't matter to me.
Right.
The only weird feelings I had watching this movie was at the end, the whole goal for Ram in this movie is to bring guns to the masses. This is such a weirdly pro-gun movie.
That might be the extreme right wing, just life would be better if everyone had a gun. I'm sure there's more.
And they're singing about how great it is that we all have guns now at the end. And I was like, would the yeehaws fucking love this movie if it was in English and the white people were giving all the guns out? Because it's their wet dream, right? This is the whole. If we just armed everyone in the Midwest, that's the greatest thing ever for them, right? Isn't that what you imagine?
I mean, they would also probably just love the first half of the movie. Look, they got one of them working for us.
Yeah, until he turns. He'll turn.
Yeah, just don't watch the second half of the movie.
But that second half of the movie is all the pro-gun part.
Oh, tough.
That's what I'm saying.
Tough,
It's just pull it. I feel like I'm on the bridge swinging from both sides at the same time right now. I can't tell. It's so much good and so much bad all in one.
Truly. Let's watch the trailer for this, which my sister pays for YouTube Premium, so I don't have ads anymore. But this starts with an ad, and I'm just it's just in the video, which is
interesting,
fun. But RRR trailer in parentheses Telugu, NTR, Ram Charan, AJ, bunch of actors, SS Ramojouli, 25th March 2022, 82 million views. Top comment, the trailer has more action than most full-length action movies.
Also, why does M Fine kind of seem like Good RX?
3 minutes and 15 seconds long, which feels appropriate for a movie this length. 3, 2, 1, play.
No, support Good RX, not M Fine. It's also shot beautifully, and it has a weird, cool, kind of kitschy TV situation to it too, right?
Mm-hmm. It looks better with the language, the words actually matching the mouths. You know what I mean?
It does. There you go, tiger, tiger, tiger. Oh yeah, he yells at the tiger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, that's the other thing. There's so many actors at every part of this movie. There's 1,000 people in all of these scenes.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like they're CGI.
No, it's just
right?
1,000 extras.
I saw this part. I'm like, I don't even know. I don't understand like how you even get like. I saw that before I saw the movie. Like them like grabbing arms underneath the bridge. I'm like, I can't even imagine how you get to this point.
But it makes sense.
I think that's what's exciting. Like that, and like Natsu Natsu. It's just like I know these are coming, but like I don't know how you're gonna get there.
See, piggyback rides.
Mm-hmm.
I like the two piece of the heart best friends necklace that they had too.
It's very nice.
Jeez. No, you have arrested your best friend.
And even after he knows that Raju is maybe bad, he still saves him from the snake bite.
Yeah, he does. No.
This is what we're talking about before.
So
Yep.
sick.
It's like one of the very few times in the movie like a white person looks cool.
Yes. And he looks really cool doing it.
It looks really cool. Also, yeah, them shooting arrows and stuff through the fire rules.
The arrows through the fire and the arrow through the tree that he kicks it into his neck right there, like, or into his head. Sick. So sick. All of these choreographed fight scenes are so cool, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're done fucking around with these guys. We're gonna go kill the white guy. Well, the main one.
It was also like part of me at the end was like, are they going to like let the white guy live, like to teach him a lesson of like friendship, or like are they gonna like arrest him or something? And they're like, no, I'm gonna shoot him with an arrow, then a bullet. It's like, okay, cool, good.
Double tap.
Like, are you gonna?
Nah.
Nope. Letterbox game. For reference sake, Mad Max Fury Road, one of the most popular films on Letterboxd, has been seen by 1.5 million people. RRR from 2022, directed by S.S. Rajamouli, starring NTR and Ram Charan, has been seen by how many people?
Different language, but big hype. Letterboxd probably loves it. It's gonna be high. 400,000.
Too high.
275.
Too high. One more.
115.
234,000.
Okay.
So sort of in the middle of your second and third guesses. Average rating of a 4.2. It is number, at least as of now, is number 249 on Letterboxd Top 250. So it just sneaks in there. The most common, basically even, a 4 and a 5, and the second a 4 and right behind that is 4.5. How many out of those 235,000 people have this in their top 4 favorite films of all time? Also, I want to say, we talked about it before, but when we first brought it up, like when we mentioned on the show that we're going to do RRR, Wes was like, there's no vehicles in the movie. Dude, did you hear our list of vehicles? There's vehicles all over the movie. There's a motorcycle on the poster.
Yeah, it's all fucking vehicles. Okay.
At least methods of transportation.
Yes. 1,200.
Too low.
2,500.
Too low. One more guess.
3,500.
2,900. 2,900 people have this in their top 4 favorite films of all time. We're going to go to Adam 2049 at Adam 2049. Hint to one of his top 4 movies. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
On July 15th of last year, all capital letters, this is the best movie I've ever seen. 5 stars. And then watched last November, so 4 months later, The Drip in this movie is absolutely insane. Ooh. Also 5 stars.
Okay.
I was hoping for another review which is like, The Riz in this movie is absolutely
the
insane.
Baby Gronk in this movie. Absolutely.
Number 4 favorite movie of all time for Adam 2049 is RRR, number 4.
Blade Runner.
Which one?
2049.
Correct. Number 3. Blade Runner 2049.
As soon as you said it, I would have got that. You didn't even have to give me the hint for later. I would have guessed Blade Runner. So excellent.
Well, there's a lot of numbers that could refer to a bunch of things. Like 2049
is specifically
just one thing.
Yeah.
Top 2, are Letterboxd All-Stars. What was one that you used to guess first every single time? You haven't guessed in a while.
Pulp Fiction.
No.
Fight Club.
No.
Parasite.
No.
Endgame.
That you don't guess anymore. No.
Endgame.
The one I'm trying to get you to guess has been logged 2.5 million times. The other one he logged, or the other, his number one favorite is 1.5 million times. Both of these movies in Letterboxd top 35 of all time based on rating.
Is the one you're trying to get me to guess a superhero movie or no?
Uh-huh.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse. The first Spider-Verse. Spider-Man
Yes.
Into the Spider-Verse, number 2 on Adam 2049. Also,
That's not the one I
RRR
used to
is a
guess all the
superhero
time.
movie.
That's not the one I used to guess all the time? Or
No, that is. Yeah, that is.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
The other one, I'm honestly surprised. The first one has 1.5 million people who have logged it, 36,000 fans. Number 20 based on rating. I'm surprised this movie does not come up in this game more often.
Interesting. Okay.
Part of a franchise.
You almost said trilogy. Star Wars?
No, I almost said trilogy because I didn't want to give away a bigger hint.
Okay.
But it is part of a trilogy.
Okay.
It has come up before. We've definitely had this movie. We've had movies in this trilogy before. But considering how popular these are, especially among nerds and people who, like those nerds would use Letterboxd, I'm surprised it doesn't come up more often.
Okay.
It tied, I think, Titanic for most Oscars.
Dark Knight? No, because
Nope.
that would be a superhero movie too. Nerds trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
1.2 million.
1.5 million. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Genres are fantasy, action, adventure.
Fantasy, action, adventure. Okay.
It was
And not
re-released
Star
this summer in
Wars.
Thailand in theaters, apparently.
Not Star Wars.
No. Star Wars is more than a trilogy. That's an actual franchise.
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is like
no, I know.
firmly just purely a trilogy. Tied Titanic for most Oscar wins at a single show. I mean, there's only going to be one show all time. I think it's like
Lord of
12
the
or
Rings?
13. Which one?
I think he is gonna go Fellowship.
No.
Two Towers?
You're almost there.
Return of the King?
There you go.
That's my least favorite one, to be honest.
I think it's the one people on Letterboxd like the most.
Oh, that's weird. I've seen Fellowship a bajillion times. I like Two Towers, and by Return of the King, I'm like, I've had enough Tolkien. Sorry, Wes, but like by Return of the King, I'm just like, yeah, I'm good.
Fellowship is number 71. Two Towers number 61. Return of the King number 20, based on average rating. So
You're right. That doesn't come up as much as we would think.
You would
right?
think that like any of those movies, they're not there as much, but
yeah, for being huge, yeah.
Anyway, that was RRR show. Shout out once again to
And also
RX.
Tolkien, good call, but it's actually like you're right. It's not really a trilogy, right? Like that is a trilogy, but at the same time, like you have The Hobbit and blah 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 blah. So
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Shout out to GoodRx and shout out to Cassie Wilson, Nick Burris, Alex Ellenin, Justin Kleiman, and Brian Rodriguez of High School Slumber Party, Wes Hampton, Jerry Robinson, Dan the Duke, Hayden Renato, G. Donato, Michael McGann, Lane Middleton, Lindsay Lewandowski, Nate Milton of the Kings of Sport, Jason Rainey, Tom Price, Mike Gallier, Josh Buckley of Whole Lot of Wolves, Michael Moser, Christian Larson, Tara New One, Aaron Willows, and Natalie Absolute, and Jessica Collins, a.k.a. Montez. Thank you all for supporting us at the $5 a month level or above. If you want to join the family, bonus episode of Airplane just came out. Go to toofast2forever.com for that. Our next episode is Another Life in the Fast Lane. So if you've not emailed it in a while, you want to say hi, family@cageclub.me, please and thank you. We would love to hear from you. There's also the Discord if you want to email in or you want to message us.
It's actually really
somewhere.
fun. I wanted to thank everyone for being nice and fun and friendly, and yeah, come join. We just talk
Discord's
bullshit.
starting to pop off.
It really is.
It's very exciting.
Yeah.
But yeah, our next episode is Life in the Fast Lane, and then we have Tokyo Drift. And then our next pit stop is from 1975, The Bullet Train. So The Bullet Train from 1975, if you want to watch that along with us, that's in 3 weeks. And our next bonus episode, which we're not sure yet, but soon in the next couple of weeks, we are going to do the Barkley Marathons, The Race That Eats Its Young. That entire documentary is on YouTube if you want to watch that. That's only going to be on the behind the paywall at gfast2forever.com, but that's Alex Ellenin's pick. That's our next bonus episode, so go check that out on YouTube. And then, join the Patreon and write in, watch it, let us know, whatever. You know what to do.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
For all things Too Fast, Too Forever, go to cageclub.me, facebook.com/toofast2forever, or at toofast2forever on Instagram, YouTube, Threads, X, everywhere. Email us, family@cageclub.me. Check out our Patreon page at toofast2forever.com and our store at cageclub.me/shop. And like we said, come back next week for Life in the Fast Lane. We also figured out we're going to be doing Too Fast, Life in the Fast Lane.
Don't even. Are you gonna say it out loud? Because it was kind of
another 8 months. So it's
kind of
nowhere.
Insane. I was like, Joey and I were like, talking,
no, sorry. We're gonna be doing the movie for another
until
8
November
months.
2024,
and we're gonna be doing the bonus stuff until November 2024 when we start Tokyo Drift. As of right now, on November 5th, 2024. So,
because we were like,
Too Fast.
Joey and I were talking. We're like, we're almost at the end of it. Because you heard the last minute. We're like, this is almost the end of the movie. We're in one last place. And it was like, nope.
Feel like Newman.
Yes, true.
Anyway, I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too.
And we will tell you all about it
when we see you again.